So another usage of AI is to run your grant through like something like ChatGPT and then put in the grant instructions, i.e. the funding opportunity announcement, request for a proposal, and ask the following questions. Is there anything that is ineligible in my grant application? So that's one of the questions you should ask. Another question is, have I thoroughly answered all questions? This is really important. So if your grant instructions have a criteria area as well, this is where they tell you all the specific questions and how many points per section. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is changing the grant writing world, but maybe not how you imagined. My name is Holly Rustick, and I'm the CEO of the Freelance Grant Writer Academy and the Grant Professional Mentorship. We help aspiring and seasoned grant writers replace their full-time income on flexible hours, writing grants from home, and to scale businesses with a part-time team, systems, and a scaling offer without burning out. Let's talk about 5 ways how AI is changing grant writing and how you can actually leverage it. Sure, you could use ChatGPT and just put in a request for a proposal and ask it to answer all of the questions, but you wouldn't get a grant awarded that way. So why? You need to have content first to use that makes sense for AI or chat or whatever software you use to use and respond. Let's look at 5 different ways that we are seeing that grant writers use AI. Number 1, use AI to check spelling and grammar. Here's the most basic use of all. Let's call this Grant Writing AI 101. Use spell check and grammar check. But forgetting basics and trying to be so sophisticated with AI can miss the mark. Grant reviewers aren't necessarily scoring you on spelling and grammar, but sometimes they actually are. Not that you have to have the best grammar in the world, but blatant misspelled words and grammar can skew a grant reviewer's feelings about professionalism. Let's face it, grant reviewers can be snobs. I can say this because I've been a grant reviewer for almost a decade and have been caught myself being a little judgy. You can use simple AI like Grammarly, Word, or even ChatGPT to check on basic spelling and grammar errors. Always run your grants through this before submitting. This is just basic. So before you get sophisticated on me, do the basics, which have been around for a long time. But I have to stress this point because inside the Freelance Grant Writer Academy, we review grants almost every single day as we have unlimited grant reviews in the program. And what we see time over again, it's just having basic misspelling and grammar. And that's one of the first things we always mention is clean that up. That's the easiest thing you can actually clean up. And then we're getting into all the details in there as well. And I don't have the best grammar in the world at all. And I can still write high scoring grants, but I need to make sure my spelling is fixed up before I submit a grant. Number 2, use AI to write a grant. As I mentioned, you won't get the best outcomes if you go into AI without first actually developing or having a grant written or even understanding a program. But if you have written a master grant application like those in the Freelance Grant Writer Academy, or a number of grant applications for the same project area you're requesting funding for, then this makes AI come alive with the right information and with enough information. If you also ask AI then to answer questions from a funding opportunity announcement or grant application, RFP, and provide the master grant application or narrative, then you are able to get words on the paper that may save you some time and may make sense. But always review this thoroughly. And Grantable is one place that is specifically for this, and we are seeing a lot more software coming out as well, and even folks are training up their own ChatGPT to talk more like a grant writer. But you still need to have enough information about the program, and you cannot have it write your grant first. You need to, as a human, develop it first and understand it. Number 3, don't use AI for grant research and citations, please. As of early 2025, when we are producing this video, AI is still terrible at citing research. It will give you beautiful citations if you ask for research, but those are usually fake. Okay, so you still need to check all URLs that it develops to see if they even exist or if there's actual research on those pages it references. Unfortunately, you still need to do the grant research to find citations, sources, and references for your grants that you need to state in your grant applications. And I was really bummed that I saw that it does not do a good job. AI does not do a good job at this because I often go down the rabbit hole of research. But if you do have a lot of resources, here is one thing AI can be super helpful at this time in putting together is creating a bibliography or works cited document. Just make sure you tell AI to do an MLA style or APA style. And we also have a reference here. But make sure you still go find the sources, actually have them, all of that. But AI can save the time to make all of the references that you then find, make it pretty and consistent. And that can save a lot of time if you need a works cited page in a grant. Number 4, what AI is changing in grant writing. Use it for replacing the banned federal words. With the Trump administration in 2025, we are seeing a radical shift in what words will trigger scrutiny or just banning grants from being accepted from grant applications. You can use ChatGPT to run your grant applications through a review and cross-reference the banned words and switch them out with more acceptable quote-unquote words that may not trigger reviews. And in fact, we have a free workbook on what these banned words are and how to replace them. And we also have already developed alternative words for you. So definitely check that out here. This is needed in 2025. Number 5, run an audit on your grant. So AI can be really helpful on that. So another usage of AI is to run your grant through something like ChatGPT and then put in the grant instructions, i.e. the funding opportunity announcement, request for a proposal, and ask the following questions. Is there anything that is ineligible in my grant application? Another question is, have I thoroughly answered all questions? This is really important. So if your grant instructions have a criteria area as well, this is where they tell you all the specific questions and how many points per section. These are typically more in federal grants, but sometimes in foundation grants too, you can find this criteria. Be sure you also run this criteria along with your application through AI and ask, have I given specific examples for each of these questions? This can also be really helpful in catching any issues, right? But do not rely on this audit to be your initial eyes. First, use your initial eyes to ask these questions, then run it through chat to catch anything as well. You still need to have a human to read your grant instructions and ensure that you adhere to the instructions. You need it to also make sure that you align your programs to the priorities and have all the attachments that are required. Think of AI in your grant writing as a support, not necessarily as a team member. It's more of an editor at this point in time than a writer, even though one of its jobs is to write. But so far, we still, as far as grant writing, we need to understand what are the priorities of the organization, what are all of the requirements, what's ineligible, what's eligible. And then you can run that through as an audit, but you still need to understand it as a human. In the future, I'm sure that AI will become more sophisticated with grant writing and research, but a human still needs to understand the designing of the programs and how they meet needs in real life. So these are your 5 steps on how AI is being used in grant writing today. And yes, there are many more ways that it's being used, but these are just 5 tips that we're highlighting for you. Make sure you subscribe so you can get all of the tips as we keep coming out with new things around grant writing and trends that have always continued.